Today is October 13th, approximately 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I'd like to call this Board of Commissioners meeting. If you take roll, please.
Durancheck?
Here.
Bigot?
Here.
Hunin?
Here.
Garrett?
Here.
Tilly?
Here.
Lutz?
Here.
Krieger?
Yes.
All members present.
Thank you. Let's stand for the invocation and then the pledge.
Eternal Father, you have placed in us a world of space and time. Through the events of our lives, you bless us with your love. Lord, we ask that you will grant to this Board of Commissioners and all those in authority patience and understanding to work together for the good of all people. In your holy name we ask this. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have the minutes from two different meetings, one on 9/8 of 15 and another on 9/15 of 15. What is your pleasure?
Motion to approve. Support.
Any discussion on either minutes? Vaughn, you did have something?
No, I'm just telling who supported it.
Oh,
Because I haven't supported it in a long time, so.
very good. We want to make sure you get your name in there. All right.
Does he want it out?
No. All right. With that being said, all those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? We're good. Next on the agenda is citizens' input. If there's anyone in the audience that would like to address the board. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Ryan Mans, Emergency Management Coordinator. I just had a really quick announcement. The new improved Bay Alert system is going to go live on Friday. We've gone through all of the training for the dispatch supervisors. We have all of the internal tests we wanted done with the new system, so that is going to launch this week.
Very good. Question?
Yeah, just can you go over once more for all the people out there who had the system, what's going to happen with if they had it, or then if they want the new one, what's the procedure?
Absolutely. We were able to import the majority of the information that was in the old system. The only issue is there is a lot more information that we can gather now and use, both for planning and emergency response situations. So we are going to have to ask everyone to go into this new portal and register with the system and input their household information if they choose. You will be able to much more simply manage your profile. You can choose which alerts you want, what way you want to receive those alerts, add new alerts as we add them, and you'll have much more of your own management of that profile in the system. So we're going to, on Friday, we're going to send a message out to everyone that was already in the system, point them to the web page at the county so they can get more information and can see where they need to go and register with the system.
Very good. Thank you. Anyone else? Thanks for the info. Anyone else wish to address the board? Then we'll move on to presentations, and we're going to go out of order a second because I don't believe Jeremy's here yet, right? Whoop, he's coming. There he is. They say timing is everything. All right, so we have a resolution 2015-217 to be presented to the Women's Center representative who just came in.
Support.
Okay. Discussions on it. With that being said, all those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And Cindy, if you do the honors.
Sure. Resolution 2015-217 by the Bay County Board of Commissioners, whereas home should be a place of warmth, unconditional love, tranquility, security, and for most of us, a home, a family can indeed be counted amongst our greatest blessings. Tragically, for many Americans, these blessings that are tarnished by violence and fear. Whereas on an average, 24 people per minute are victims of rape, physical violence, or stalking by an intimate partner in the United States. More than 12 million women and men over the course of a year. And whereas According to the American Psychological Association, 74% of all murder-suicides involved an intimate partner, and of these, 96% have been women killed by their intimate partners. Whereas, women are not the only targets. Men, children, the elderly, and family pets are counted among the victims, and sadly, emotional scars are often permanent. Whereas 71% of pet-owning women entering women's shelters reported that their battered and injured, maimed, killed, or threatened family pets for revenge or to psychologically control victims. 32% reported their children had hurt or killed animals. And whereas, according to a study by Break the Silence 2006, witnessing violence is the strongest risk factor in transmitting violent behavior from one generation to the next. Whereas, according to the Bureau of Justice Statistics Crime Data Brief, Intimate Partner Violence, February of 2003, women accounted for 85% of the victims of intimate partner violence, and men for approximately 15%. And whereas, a coalition of organizations has emerged to directly confront this crisis. Law enforcement officials, staff of shelters and hotline services, healthcare professionals, the clergy, and concerned citizens are helping in an effort to end domestic violence. We must recognize the compassion and dedication of these volunteers and professionals, applaud them, and increase public understanding of this important problem. And whereas, the theme of Domestic Violence Awareness Month is defining authentic love, words from experience, the emphasis being authentic love never devalues another human being. Therefore, be it resolved that the Bay County Board of Commissioners, along with the Bay County Executive, proclaim the month of October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month in Bay County, and urges our citizens to observe this month by becoming aware of the tragedy of domestic violence, supporting those who are working toward its end, and participating in community efforts. Signed, Ernie Krieger, Chair and Board.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. Jeremy, if you'll come up and meet with Commissioner Durancheck, we have a resolution to present to you.
What's his last name?
Jeremy Rick. R-I-C-K, yep.
Jeremy, on behalf of the Bay County Commissioners and the Executive and complete Board, I'd like to present to you a copy of this resolution here. And if you want to say a few words, I think it would be.
Thank you. As the Bay Area Women's Center celebrates the beginning of our 40th year providing services here in Bay County, we want to acknowledge and express our gratitude to the Commissioners for their unwavering support as we work to accomplish our mission of eliminating domestic violence and sexual assault from this community. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, and you're doing a great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations. And I should mention, you are the director of the Women's Center, correct?
That is correct.
Good job. All right, next on the list is a public hearing on the county exec's proposed 2016 Bay County budget. A motion to go out.
Regular order of business. Support.
Discussion? With that being said, roll call, please.
Commissioner Tilly,
Yes.
Klutz,
Yes.
Durancheck,
Yes.
Begic,
Yes.
Coonan,
Yes.
Parrot,
Yes.
and Krieger.
Yes.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
Very good. Crystal, you're up.
Thank you, Chairman Krieger, Board of Commissioners. I'm Crystal Hebert, and on behalf of Tom Hickman, the County Executive, I will overview the 2016 Executive Recommended Budget. Our focus today will primarily be an overview of general fund revenues, expenditures, recommendations, and then we'll have questions and answers. This approach seeks to strike a balance between the needs of the citizens, its employees, while ensuring fiscal responsibility and excellent customer service to the community. Total county spending for all funds is slated to be $132 million in 2016, while $35 million of that total makes up the general fund expenditures. Tax revenues remain the single largest source of revenues for the general fund at 47% as projected by equalization. The levied tax rate for county operating is 5.7257 mils. An analysis of the single largest source of revenue shows is projected to increase slightly in 2016. And this increase is primarily due to the residential class properties, which are absorbing the effects of the new personal property tax legislation. Other major sources of revenue for the general fund include a $1.2 million transfer from the delinquent tax revolving fund. While revenue sharing remains status quo in 2016, we see a change in the liquor tax of around $370,000 based on the state changing the formula for distribution. Wages and fringes remain the largest expenditure of the general fund, totaling nearly $21 million or 61%. There's additional personnel changes in the back of the Appropriations Act. There's some more information. While base wages do not increase in 2016, employees can still opt for 1% lump sum payment or 3 personal days as negotiated in the last contract, which expires at the end of 2016. Employers' health insurance contributions to the self-insurance fund are projected to be at $3.6 million, and that includes active and retiree contributions. New approaches to healthcare, like the Wellness Center and wellness programs, like the STEP Challenge, are aiding in reducing the cost of healthcare. The general group in the retirement system, as of the most recent actuary, is funded at a ratio of 112%, resulting in no required contribution to the pension system. Although the executive budget does contain an additional 4% of payroll above the actuarial recommended contribution. Sheriff Group is funded at 123%, which is the highest funded group in the retirement system. And as the general group, there's no required contribution to the pension system. Funding level of pension funds over the last 10 years are shown in blue for the general group and red for the sheriff's group, trending upwards in 2014 according to the most recent actuary, and remaining over 100% funded. Major transfers out from the general fund to special revenue funds include the health department at $996,000, the juvenile home, and other child care programs. Major capital expenditures are, just some major capital expenditures are highlighted on this slide. And they include some of the following groups. And part of the buildings and grounds cost there includes a countywide phone system, which would be an IP phone system. And there's also more information available on all of the capital expenditures within the Appropriations Act. The Budget Stabilization Fund is funded at 15% of the most recently adopted budget per Resolution 2015-157. Recommendations for the 2016 executive recommended budget are to use approximately $900,000 of unassigned fund balance, which is approximately the total capital outlay for 2016. At the end of 2016, Bay County's general obligation debt will be serviced, which includes the civic arena and the court facility. To continue with that 15% reserve in the Budget Stabilization Fund, while maintaining that balance that I spoke about in the first slide. And to continue to work with the board analysts and the board to bridge the gaps between revenues and expenditures. Does anyone have any questions?
Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On the healthcare, what percentage are we projecting the increase to be versus, prior years? Are we on this decline that we were? Are we staying steady or going up? What's the status of that?
As I would say that the projection from our third-party administrator is that the healthcare costs are going to stay relatively stable for 2016.
Okay, and I think that's a good thing. I mean, the wellness program has definitely helped, and I think it's nice that we're able to get some infrastructure things done in this past year, and we'll continue to get them done. We committed $600,000 or $700,000 of that, because I know if we don't take care of our house, it's going to fall down. And I think that's a good thing. I see we have something on the agenda today about the juvenile home. So we continue to upgrade the facilities, the phone systems, and the information systems, and keep the buildings in good order. So I think we're on the right track. I'm really happy to be part of this commission that's doing that at this time. So thank you.
Anyone else? Commissioner Begic.
I was at the Auburn City Commission meeting last night, and they were talking about asset management, that the federal government is requiring that you have money set aside for ongoing maintenance and stuff. Are we required to do that also? Is that it's a federal thing? So it's how you manage your assets to have your money set aside for sidewalks and, I know we don't do sidewalks, but just general, funds available.
I'm not familiar with that legislation.
They talked about it quite a bit last night.
Okay.
I didn't know if that would involve the county also. It's apparently a federal requirement. So, thank you.
Commissioner Tilley.
I just have a statement. It's nice to not see 25% to 30% to 40% increases in healthcare costs. And the board's done a phenomenal job, as I think the federal government has done in leveling out healthcare cost increases across the board by leveraging contracts with larger healthcare providers that keep the cost of healthcare down. So just commend this board for the actions they've taken over the time, and also the government for also helping take care of those costs, because those were insane early 2000 years. Thanks.
Okay. And Commissioner Coonan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think one thing that distinguishes Bay County from a lot of other governmental entities, even private sector entities, is the pension cost. And here we have no pension cost. Pension has been overfunded for many years. And I think we do contribute a small percentage in the pension, which we should, because it's better to continue to maintain those funds. So a lot of communities are struggling with 10, 12, 15, 20% pension costs. And then healthcare costs, another 10, 15, 20% of payroll for healthcare costs. There's nothing left, and they're cutting and cutting and cutting. I've been on the board 14 years, and I think Bob, we saw that a long time ago, and we did some things to consolidate and to reduce our expenditures, and it's making this process today a whole lot easier based upon what we did 14 years ago. And when you look at this budget as a fluid instrument, the $895,000 that's allocated from the general fund, well, I think if you look at the end of each audited year, we return a surplus of the budget back into our pension fund. So you might say that's $900,000 that we're using from fund balance to balance the budget, but that's not necessarily the truth. And I think we've done a better job of budgeting for capital expenditures instead of doing budget adjustments. I remember a few years back we did budget adjustments every month because we did not budget for capitalization. So I think overall, probably our most difficult task as county commissioners is adopting a budget. We've done a very good job over the past, and the commissioners that 20, 30 years ago did a very good job as well, making our job easier. So we should be very happy that we're here and not some other places that are continuing to struggle to put together a balanced budget. And unfortunately, they've got some very difficult decisions that they have to make. I don't think we have to make them this year, so.
Correct. Commissioner Durancheck.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd also like to point out to everyone that which you already know probably, but our pension, the members that are on our pension board, not just the commissioners, but all the representatives that are there through the years have done a fantastic job. At the Tri-County get-together that we had with the other counties, I sat with a person and he was telling me that in their county, they are looking to try and fill a $125 million healthcare negative. It just goes to show you, here we are overfunded. They didn't do something right, and obviously our former members and the guys that we've got on our pension board now, good job. Thank you.
Very good. Anyone else? I guess what's good about the board that we have and what we've had in the past is we always chose not to kick the can down the road, but address what we needed to do, and as a board, we made some great decisions. And past board members also were in the same ballpark as where we're at. So, Crystal, thank you very much. Is there anyone in the audience that has any questions on the budget? A motion to go back to regular
business.
Support. Discussion? All those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? We'll move on to reports and resolutions of committees, and we'll move right into... No, I did not. I'm sorry. We need a motion to receive the report.
Support.
There we go. Any other discussion? With none, all those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Again, Crystal, thank you. We'll move into Ways and Means, which would be Commissioner Kim Coonan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. From the Ways and Means Committee, we have Resolution 2015-218. This is the OHSP Traffic Enforcement Grant Projects from the Sheriff's Department. I move this resolution.
Support.
Discussion. With none, all those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 2015-219, the acceptance of port security grant, sheriffs and the emergency services. I move this resolution.
Support.
Commissioner Herrick.
I always got a question for the man who
There you
knows most
go.
about this. Ryan, could you, people, something we didn't watch last week probably, but go over what makes this vessel so unique compared to what we have, and they'll say that people are going to see the cost and say, wow, that's a lot of money.
Did you see the picture? There was
I saw the picture, yes.
Nice
But,
rig.
What makes it, so why are we doing this? What makes it unique in itself?
Well, it's going to address several needs that we currently have with the fleet that we have right now. It's going to allow for a much more stable dive platform for the Sheriff's Department. It's going to be much more powerful than the other boats that they currently have for pursuit and investigative purposes. And it is also going to encompass a lot of other detection equipment that they don't currently have. Night vision, a more advanced radar system. It even has a radiological component as a part of it that FEMA requires. So the entire platform, while that does look like a large price tag for a boat, it's not just the boat that we're getting, it's all of the equipment that goes into that piece of equipment as well.
Thank you.
Very good. Any other questions? With none, all those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 2015-220, this is the 2015 assessment rolls from the Drain Commissioner. I move this resolution.
Support.
Discussion. With none, all those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 2015-221, making strides against breast cancer. This is a fundraising effort through the Register of Deeds. I move this resolution.
Support.
Discussion. With none, all those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 2015-222, non-point source program grant funding through the Health Department. I move this resolution.
Support.
Discussion. With none, all those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 2015-223, memorandum of agreement for personal action towards health. This is the PATH Diabetes Program, the Division on Aging. I move this resolution.
Support.
Discussion. With none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 2015-224, this is the acceptance of a partnership for the Saginaw Bay Watershed Grant and designation as the fiduciary on behalf of the Public Advisory Council through Environmental Affairs. I move this resolution.
Support.
Discussion. With none, all those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 2015-225, a RAP grant for community center for the bleachers at the community center. I move this resolution.
Support.
Discussion. With none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 2015-226, the 2015 clerk certificates in the 4029 equalization, through equalization. I move this resolution. Support.
Any discussions? With none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 2015-227, payables from the general bayonet Center Ridge Arms. I move this resolution.
Support.
Discussion. With none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 2015-228, banking services for 2016 through 2018. This would be independent bank for the treasurer and the finance department. I move this resolution.
Support.
Discussions. With none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Chairman, that's all the business from Ways and Means.
Thank you, Commissioner Coonan. We'll move into Personnel and Human Services, which would be Michael Lutz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Today I have one item to bring before the board, and that's the resolution 2015-229, which is the vacancies in the Division on Aging, Sheriff Department, and the Juvenile Home. I move that resolution.
Support.
Any discussion? With none, all those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
And that's all we have for Personnel and Human Services.
Thank you, Commissioner Lutz. We'll move into the Board of Commissioners. That would be Commissioner Don Tilley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have before you, first of all, Resolution 2015-230, which is opposition to the use of sky lanterns in Michigan, brought forward by myself and Commissioner Dranzik. I so move this resolution.
Support.
Any discussions? Commissioner Durancheck.
I think it's the whole board's point of view that hopefully that we can get this taken care of a little quicker than they are taking care of the road issue at the state, because if not, there's a good chance you could burn down half of Michigan before they do something. So get your phone calls in there. These things are dangerous and a menace to society, and they gotta go. Thank you.
Commissioner Tilley.
And another one of the big issues is the damage it does to the environment and wildlife, and turtles and frogs and other creatures along our shorelines get stuck in these things and die, or they're trapped in them. And anyway, it's a good thing. I passed one on the corner when I was out running on the corner of Park and Center, and I wondered what it was when I was walking up on it at first, and the whole thing is still there. It just burned out and came down and landed on the ground, and they don't biodegrade. They just lay there as trash and cause a public nuisance. So I wholly support and thank Commissioner Dranzik for also bringing this forward.
And Commissioner Herrick.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As a former fire marshal in Bay City, I understand I spent a lot of time looking at damage things like these would cause, you know, even when I go to our fireworks festival down by the river, you know, there's a lot of them that go up over there, and sometimes they don't quite make it off the ground. They get stuck in the trees, you know, they're too close to, and they're only like 20 feet off the ground, but you just like look out, because they're just, it's something, you know, nothing good comes out of it. Are they pretty? They are pretty, but they're not for around here. Yeah, I agree with this resolution. We're going to save a lot of wildlife and a lot of everything else by, you know, hopefully banning them. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? With that being said, all those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 2015-231, support for Senate Bills 437 and Senate Bills 438, brought forward by myself. I so move this resolution.
Support.
Discussion. Commissioner Tilly.
This is an issue that's going on right now down in Lansing, and it's about the regulation of energy in Michigan. And if we didn't learn from Enron in the early 2000s, I don't know when we're going to learn. When a company from out of state promises energies that they cannot provide, and if you remember the rolling blackouts that California had, and the extortion of money that the corporation of Enron did from other companies as they bought them up to pad their so-called finances each year, and they eventually ran out of time and ran out of companies they could buy up and ran out of money. And then they took the workers' pensions and everybody went bankrupt, and it was really the kickoff to the Great Recession that we felt in the early 2000s. We owe it to our local providers, DTE and consumers, and we'd like to keep money in the state of Michigan. We talk about Pure Michigan. We talk about investing in our communities. It still includes the 10% that can be purchased outside of the state of Michigan, even though we'd like to see that even gone, but it is something that we're comfortable with going forward, and I'm really hopeful that the board also sees the way to support this resolution as well, and I'm happy to put this forward.
Very good. Commissioner Coonan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Coming from an electrical utility, I do understand this very well. And anytime we put something so intrinsically valuable to people in the hands of the private sector for profit, it's a detriment to the system and to a lot of people that have a very difficult time making ends meet. So this with the electricity I support, and we don't ever want to see the private sector get a hold of the waters, because there are some private out west, there are some private companies getting a hold of water utilities, what used to be a public utility, and they should be public utilities because they benefit everyone. So I do support this, and something valuable, intrinsically valuable, electricity, water, healthcare, should not be for profit. Everyone should have access to it, everyone should pay for it, but everyone should have access to it, and it not be something based upon pure profit and greed. So I support this, and there are probably a number of other good solutions or good projects that we could be supporting as well.
Very good. Commissioner Tilly?
Yeah, to piggyback on what Commissioner Coonan said, one of the greatest assets that a local community can own is its own utilities. And even though we don't own consumers or DTE, they are our neighbors, they are our partners, and they have partnered well with the communities in the state of Michigan. If we were to eliminate that 10%, your utility rates would drop 4%. But as a result of consumers still having to provide the infrastructure and the DTE having to provide the infrastructure in the state of Michigan, they pass those costs off onto the customers they have, because the customers from out of state don't have to pay for those, but they have to allow for them to use consumers and DTE's grids in the state of Michigan. And so if we could get rid of that 10%, we could actually bring customers' energy costs down. But this is the compromise we've come to down in Lansing, and we're happy to take this forward and encourage our legislators. And I hope we can also send it, Deanne, off to the other counties as well as the other ones that requested.
Right.
So, thank you.
Commissioner Coonan, you probably want to talk about basic light.
Well, there you go. Consumers in Edison are both controlled by the Public Service Commission, which does a very good job managing that. But here, we're very fortunate, probably to have the third or the fourth largest municipal-owned utility in the state, basically electric light and power. We all, if you are if they provide power to you in lieu of you have lower rates in lieu of some for-profit company having some making money on it. So basically, Electric has done a great job, and as Commissioner Tilly has stated, they have put a lot of money back into the community for everyone, and their rates are lower because you don't have investors who are seeking a return on their investment. The return on their investment for basic electric light and power, all of us folks, would be lower rates. And they not only provide service to everyone within the city, but there's about 4 or 5 different townships in Bay County that Bay City does a very excellent job providing low-cost, affordable electric and very reliable as well. So they do a good job. And consumers, and Edison does a great job as well.
Very good. Commissioner Begic.
I'm going to speak against the resolution. I think there's a compromise. They're working on a compromise in Lansing right now. This bill is still in the Senate committee and House committee. It hasn't been able to get it out. I contacted the vice chair of the House Energy Policy Committee. It's Gary Glenn's office today to talk about this a bit. And he has a compromise where the schools and public sector would be able to go out and get cheaper electricity. There's a cap right now, it's a 10% cap. Back in 2000, Senate Bill, or Public Act 295, lifted the cap. And for about 8 years, we had no cap. At that time, our energy national average was below the national level. It's been going back up since 2008 when we put the cap on. So there has been a decrease in our savings. Clarkson Schools saved $350,000 with the choice. Saginaw Valley has saved $200,000 with choice. Bavarian Inn has saved $20,000 with choice. So there are savings to be made. I wasn't sure if Bay City Public, I know there was an article in the paper if we have choice or not. There's a cap, so there's a limit of how many people can get the choice. But that's money out of the schools. The schools don't have a lot of money. And so I think whatever we can do to help the schools out would be better. Consumers and DTE after 2000 lost 18% of their customers. That's when they had full choice. But they were subsidized by their own customers as if they lost 100%. So they got full subsidy to cover, but no new plants were built. Now that's been a problem, no plants have been built. But DTE is building a plant, or planning to build a plant in Ohio. So they're not about keeping jobs in Michigan. That's not keeping jobs in Michigan.
Well, I think maybe some of the problem with that might be an organization called DEQ. I mean, we had on plan a nice renovation of a power company that went south, which was unfortunate. But
through that whole process with Karen Weddock, a lot of us were testifying to try to get that expanded, and then it was, was not approved by DEQ and the governor eventually. So we could have had expansion, but anyway. So I think there's a compromise. There's a lot of debate going on in Lansing. I think the final bill hasn't been finalized yet, so I oppose this specific bill.
Okay. Commissioner Tilley.
Yeah, that compromise bill lifts the cap to 17%, and you and I will pay the extra cost. So the savings might go to a private business, or it might go to a public utility or public municipality, which would be the biggest dogs lining up to get it, and then you and I at home will pay for those costs. That's where it's going to come out. And those companies that are from out of state still won't have to pay for the upkeep to the system, and that you and I will pick up that cost as well. And so when more people are using our local utilities, prices come down because they can spread the cost over more people. And I strongly urge you to support this entity. And they're going to close by 2025, 20 plants, I think is what I said, or 25 plants by 2020. And so they've got to, when they do decide where they're going to go, in which direction they're going to turn their energy, renewable energy, because it's because of the EPA's renewable energy policies that they have to find cleaner fuels, cleaner energies, and so as they shut down these coal plants, they've got to build, eventually at some point in time, some other type of energy. You're seeing it in the wind energy out there, and probably natural gas is going to be the next big kicker to come in here. So I support our local entities and urge the rest of my fellow commissioners to support it as well. Thank you.
Very good. Anyone else? With that being said, all those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Fawn?
No.
Very good. All right.
And resolution 2015-232, report to the county executive. I so move this resolution.
Discussions. Any discussion? All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
So that concludes business with Board of Commissioners, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Tilley. We will move into reports of county officials and departments. Mr. Hickner, do you have anything to say?
No, sir.
Very good. We'll move into unfinished business. No unfinished business. Any new business to be discussed? With none, we'll move into miscellaneous. For miscellaneous, I do have some announcements. It's going to be winter soon. And I think what's important is for people to start to think about getting their homes ready for the cold weather. And now's a good time to do it before the weather really does take a turn, and in some cases, it'll be too late. And for the senior citizens that are out there, I would encourage them to get in touch with different organizations that help provide funds and services to help get their homes set up for the winter time. So just a point for an announcement. We do have some appointments for 2015. In October, we have a Department of Health and Human Services for the Board of Directors. It's a 1 3-year term. In November, we have a Land Bank Authority, one at-large representative for a 3-year term. We also have the Building Authority, which is 2 6-year terms. And in December, we still have Division on Aging Advisory Committees, 4 2-year terms for Districts 1, 3, 5, and 7. And Ms. Johnson, do we have a need for a closed session?
We do not, Mr. Chair.
Very good. Then, Mr. Durancheck, what would be in order?
Motion to adjourn is always in order, Mr. Chair.
Support.
Any discussion? With that being said, we are adjourned.